Welcome to the Uzima Health and Wellness Podcast. What did the doctor say?
My goal is to be, as Kendra Outler, the CEO and founder of Uzima Health and Wellness, is to really bring together a community that's discussing information all the time that affects Black American health, because as we look to solve this problem about healthcare disparity, it involves us talking to people in the community like yourself. So Tomica, welcome to the show. You are known around the DMV. First of all, let's be clear that you are known around the DMV as a fitness expert. So please tell us all about that, because one of the primary things in breast cancer prevention and cancer prevention period, and a better health status for all people, is to exercise. So,
yeah, yeah, that is correct. And that's kind of how I got, I wouldn't say pushed into it, but that's where my passion came from as far as getting into fitness. So my fitness background, I've been a fitness professional, if you will, for the past 35 years. So in high school, out of high school, college, worked at the radio station, still did stuff on the side. So I've always had a fitness mindset or activity mindset. Okay. Beyond that, I worked for places like Sport and Health, Valley Total Fitness, which isn't around anymore. I've been around, and formerly Equinox, and now I work with a company called Nestfield Performance. Okay. A Black woman-owned, operated company.
Fitness company. So I'm going to sign myself up, just so you know, for a personal treatment with you, for a personal fitness program with you one day soon. I want you all to know, full disclosure, Tomica Carter was my personal trainer. She is wonderful. And one of the things that I know about you is your Pilates class has been excellent. And we oftentimes don't see Black women doing Pilates, but I just want my followers to know you are an excellent Pilates instructor and overall fitness instructor. But give us some background about where you're from and, you know, your journey. You're from the DMV area, right? Originally? Right. Talk to me.
Born in DC, raised in Maryland. Born to two parents, quickly separated after I was born. So I was raised by a single mom. My mother's name was Barbara L. Carter. Mm-hmm. We lived in Lanham, Maryland, went to Duval High School, class of 88, shout out Duval, and then class of 94 at Howard University.
Howard, say that loud and proud.
So I got my transition from high school to college was kind of rough for me, in the sense that my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1986 when I was 16. She was diagnosed then. Unfortunately, healthcare wasn't that great. Her healthcare wasn't that great back then, and they didn't have the things they have now as far as procedures to help with breast cancer. Mm-hmm. The story behind that, I'll give you a quick synopsis. Stuff was lost. Her results were lost. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was a hospital and a clinic, and we were under state healthcare program. So her care wasn't a top notch. Mm-hmm. How she found out 2 years later that she was breast cancer positive, she had to have a total mastectomy. Mm-hmm. It might have just been, biopsy or a slight mastectomy, a piece mastectomy. So she found out then, and then it progressed. At that point, it already progressed in her body, spread to her liver, and she passed in 1988, my first year in college.
Okay. So, let me slow you down, Tomica. This is very important because we are in a period now with COVID where we see the struggles of single parents raising their children, and they could have COVID, which has become the disease du jour, of course, the disease. But then there are people, our young children like you, who are dealing with parents who have diabetes, high blood pressure, or cancer, right? Being reared in a single parent household. We also know that during this period, a lot of moms are taking a pay cut, struggling with childcare if they are trying to keep things moving. So I think what you said was very important. Number one, that I want people to understand that, yes, we still have children in single parent households who are facing medical conditions. You're discussing, I think your mother's in the 80s, right? So oftentimes during that time, people either had some type of healthcare insurance, or they had to go to our publicly funded hospitals. in clinics. Where would that have been in DC at that time? Because I was in Houston, Texas at that time. So I know that you got care if you got cancer at Ben Taub. And then there were private hospitals. So what you're saying is very important in that even then and now, where you go to get care can make a difference on your outcome. So I think that's what you're bringing up. So where was the state? Where would she get her care in terms of being when you get cancer care?
Okay, so that's interesting you bring that up because neither of those places are still around.
Mm-hmm.
General Hospital.
DC General,
was the place she had the mammogram done and the x-ray done of her breast that lost the results. And east of the river health clinic, which is in between DC and Maryland on East Capitol Street, which is long gone. The doctor there didn't pursue it, didn't have her go back and have another test done. She dropped the ball in that regard. So those two were the main people in conjunction with the doctor who were responsible and basically started the ball to her demise, her death.
So you were 16 experiencing this, and I feel your commitment to this health disparity, poor outcome that your mother experienced.
Right.
You were 16,
Correct.
Living this. This sounds like any other child traumatic to lose your parent and watch them. But how long from her diagnosis to her death would that have been? How long?
About 2 years.
It was 2 years. That's right. You said your freshman year of college. And let me just say the end of the junior year or all of high school to this pivotal part of college. There's so many events. There's prom. There's a decision to go to college, and you were dealing with an ill parent, a parent that's struggling to live, not just ill, a parent struggling to live. I remember going to college and seeing a girl, one of the Black girls on campus had a picture of her mother. And I said, "Oh, your mother's beautiful." And I said, "She coming up?" I said, and she said, "No, my mother died my sophomore year of high school." So she had a baby brother. And so at that time, it became her dad, her mother, her and her brother.
Right.
So, when I look back on those years of having friends who lost parents while we were in high school and on to college even, I feel that because I remember, peripherally experiencing them, and you still have to go on through life. You still have to make decisions, which is, I'm sure, what your mother would have wanted for you.
Right, almost definitely.
So you were able to continue with college.
Well, she had already started the wrongful death suit practice on her deathbed. So once she passed away, the lawyer contacted me, and because of her death, I was able to go to college without taking out one loan.
Wow, that's deep. Let me ask you this. Wow. Let me ask you this. First of all, let's say tell me your mother's name again.
Barbara Lee Carter.
Barbara Lee Carter. So she knew that her health care was inferior.
Yes.
Inadequate. And at that time, if you have a wrongful death suit that you are successful with, it is definitely already deemed what we call out of the standard of care.
Right. They ended up settling out of court, just so you know how it went. But they settled for, a decent amount because they knew they were wrong.
Is this a pre-death settlement that you all did?
She'd already passed. Once she had passed away, I had no idea she'd already started this. My mother was, I was the only child, and she had me in the suburbs, and I was very sheltered as a child. Which was good in some respects, but not good in other respects regarding this. So, I was like, "Who is this?" He's calling me. Milton Heller was the lawyer. He's like, "Hi, you don't know me, but I'm Milton Heller." I was like, "Okay." But he was very good. He was very caring, very personable. He let me know what my mother had said and how she wanted everything run, and that I was the guarantor. And, there was no mean regarding that. So he was very direct, and I appreciate her setting it up like that because, you
were a child. But see, and so this is important because as we talk about health disparity, and I hear people say, "Well, I was treated this way," or "This person spoke to me this way." You have that conversation, and I had a situation which made me passionate about health disparity outcomes, lack of attention to Black bodies when we do enter the healthcare. Even as a physician, I see it. It's a sad part of our profession, but it is that everyone is not treated equally. There is an NIH study about unequal care. Okay, it's no secret. It's documented. What to do about it as a system? I think that we struggle with it, just like we do in the world in terms of policing, housing, and so hence we're talking about the social determinants of health. Where you live, we can't change our race, unlike somebody said they changed themselves to Black. I forget the lady's name. Okay, we won't say it. We won't even say it. But these are your determinants of health. That I began to realize then that as I spoke about my grandmother's care, the lawyer said, but you have to meet the definition of substandard, that you have to meet by law this definition of, was this the standard of care? Your mother's case specifically met that, therefore you as her descendant was compensated. Which brings me to my issue of really this Breast Cancer Awareness Month, wanting people to understand that there are people like yourself and myself who we live with this reality every day. Mm-hmm. That I have my hope mug. Yes, I got my earrings on, and it is a thought about hope, and it's hope that will find a cure. Hope that if you, myself, another friend, another relative gets breast cancer, that somebody will pay attention, mm-hmm. that somebody will care enough to follow up, and that our provider will present the best option for us to live a long life. Gotcha. And I think that that's what really the message is that we can carry forward now, because there's something else you just stated back then. If that is in the 80s, what is your thought about why we're still struggling with Black women having poor outcomes with breast cancer?
Oh, it's a whole slew of things, right? Economic disenfranchise, reasons, education, and it's not, lack of effort on, I wouldn't say lack of effort on their part, but it's a matter of lack of effort on who they're seeing, educating them about, these are the risks if you don't change your lifestyle. This is what really can happen. Being real and having a come to Jesus meeting with your doctor having that with you if you're, swaying out of what is good for you as far as your health care, mm-hmm. not properly, not drinking proper water, not moving consistently. It just, the whole communication portion of it, I think, has lacked mm-hmm. in certain demographics, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I think that's part of it. And then the healthcare system, for some reason, I mean, it's historical that they believe that Black women, I've heard, we don't feel pain as much. We're tougher than the average person or female because, so we can take things harder or more aggressively than someone else may. So they're like, we may be discounted in some regards. Mm-hmm. My mom came and said she felt a lump in her breast. She wasn't given the full attention she should have been given.
The issue about exercise is important. People don't understand that there's a test called the mammogram. Okay, they may understand that you get a mammogram. And some women have dense breast, heavier breast, and that makes it a challenge mm-hmm. to read the mammogram. That much is scientific. That's not voodoo. That's not, the doctor didn't try. By controlling weight, that does help the mammogram look better because your breasts are not as heavy. So some women really do gain weight in their breast. And some women are naturally have heavier breast tissue. Mm-hmm. But again, as you gain weight, there are fat cells in the breast. So someone says, oh yes, I'm getting bigger breasts, yay. But you have to understand that does put you in a higher risk category because it makes reading the test more challenging. Right. So exercising and keeping your weight down is important. Some people think that's just vain talk. And I know, and we want to make sure that we understand that women, single moms running around a lot, give me a break when it comes to exercise and what we got to eat. But also the challenge is in the more high risk demographic and geography areas, there's lack of accessibility to gyms. So tell us about, where you work and where you grew up, and the thought that you had in terms of the difference of availability to see places to exercise.
Right. Growing up, I grew up in suburbs of Maryland, Atlanta, Maryland. Very active in high school, ran track, did pom-poms, all that stuff, just came part of my life. There were gyms around there in the suburbs. If you live in certain areas, you're going to have accessibility to better everything. Air, better food supply, better gyms or gyms period, and better costs. Gas prices may be more applicable or more appropriate if you places versus others. As I got older, I stayed active. And then I got into activities out here. I work for a company now, Nestfield Performance, Black women-owned company. Tiffany Nestfield is the owner and head trainer there. And she, once like me, had a very active lifestyle. She was a former track runner. Went to Illinois State University on a track scholarship, and was had hopes of even thinking about going to the Olympics because she was that good. She was a hurdler. So both have the same mindset as far as movement is very important and very intricate in keeping our bodies healthy and keeping our minds healthy, keeping both of our wellness and fitness in line. So moving forward, we decided that, working together, we want to really be on the front end, so to speak, to help promote healthcare and wellness to everyone. There's a great difference, there's a divide between Montgomery County and Prince George's County, though.
Right. Yeah.
Those that can't afford a personal trainer or wellness fitness classes, and those who can't. So there are folks that can't, but I think there are other ways. Like they have your parks and planning commissions, they have your swim classes. I have friends that do their cardio bike classes. So there are ways for folks to get in there and get active. But then time becomes an element as well. And that's an element with everybody.
Right.
But I am a sole believer, even now I'm struggling with it. We make time for things that are important to us. You have to start, if you just start small, like 30 minutes one day a week, and that's when you start, even 15 minutes one day a week. So it's very important to start something at smaller increments and be successful, that small increment, and then increase it, than to come out the gate and try to go 5-6 days a week and say you're going to do an hour each day, because it's unrealistic. And that will set you up for failure. And then that's like a snowball effect back to bad habits and back to bad wellness practices.
Do you believe that for Black women, this whole thought about hair, I got my hair braided, it makes it easier. You have a lovely haircut. Do you really think that's a barrier to exercising for Black women?
I think it has been in the past. I think now they've gotten past that. D.L. Hughley, one of my favorite comedians, he not how when Black women say, I don't want to mess up my hair. He was like, we'd rather have you nappy in here than silky and gone. He said, I don't care if you're in the kitchen looking like Ben Wallace. Just be here. Just do what you need to do. Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of my other lines that, the hair, we have folks walking around with red bottoms. We got our Black sisters we are one of the most educated and most professional people in the world. Folks that you got your weaves, you got your nails, you got your lashes, you got red bottoms.
Oh, come on now. You don't start a fight on the show.
The sessions are $100 a session. You're like, oh, I can't do that. That's too. Your health, you can't buy good health. When you get sick, you sick, pumpkin. You can't buy good health. And that's one thing with my sisters that I implore, rethink that.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to, and if that's not in your budget, which is a shame, if you can afford to drive around in a Tesla and have red bottoms on, you can afford a personal trainer that knows what they're doing.
Well, let me just say, that let's give a shout back out to our moms. I think that some of this is a mindset, okay? And it's not easily resolved. I had a mom that was very active, still is. She just retired 25 years of being a fitness instructor at the Y. And I think that, maybe some changes with COVID, but, she ran the Texas Tenneco, whatever they called it back then. But she was one of the first people running the Houston Marathon, okay? And you're right, in our communities, we don't have all these gym options. But our communities do have community centers. I think there's PG County Sports Complex. We're fortunate to have some green space in the Maryland area, Virginia area, with great walking trails.
Right.
So I do see that some of the areas really can be utilized. I think that we do have to recognize that some communities are under siege in terms of being concrete areas that are not safe.
Right.
And people have gotten conditioned to, particularly at a certain age, of being inside for safety. But I do recognize too your other issue. We can move about to go do other things. Then we should plan to make a trip to a neighborhood park to get some exercise. COVID has made that very challenging as well. People are fearful in some areas, particularly when they need to exercise. That 50 and older crowd really need to continue to exercise, but COVID for the last year has made people reserved about that. But we're also battling the thing they call the COVID 20 pounds. People are in the house eating. We're also looking at people using more cigarette smoking going up, alcohol use going up during this period because people have either been laid off or stressed out. There was something that you said earlier about your mother's care that first of all, did your mother, was she a physically active person?
I wouldn't call her a physically active person. She did join the holiday spa, which became Valley Total Fitness in our neighborhood.
I remember that one.
Went there a couple of times. Ironically enough, it just zoomed in my head. That was the Bally's that was actually sued for racism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was interesting. It's like she had access to it in a neighborhood because it was, we were the second Black family on my block. So that's a whole nother lane to be in.
Uh-huh.
But the holiday spa she joined supposedly had some issues with race and blah, blah, blah. But she would go there, I think, here and there, but it wasn't consistent. I can't say it was consistent. She was trying to start her own business on top of, she was a government worker, then she left the government, tried to start her own business. So in the lieu of finding out she had breast cancer, she was trying to do her own thing and open up a hair salon. So that's an added stressor.
Mm-hmm.
And that, she was a single parent. She had to make the mortgage. She had to pay her car note. She had to put me through school, things like that. So I don't think that was her primary thing. We have different lifestyles. Barbara Carter loved her vodka. She liked to drink. Right to you, Pumpkin. She'd come home and have her tonic and her vodka. So she also smoked. So lifestyles.
Yes.
But even still, that being said, there are a lot of folks that still have that type of lifestyle, but have better health care. And, facts are facts. Had that mask been found when it should have been found and treatment would have been given, there's a good chance she wouldn't have passed away. And in today's technology, there's no reason for her to have passed away because they've come so far with breast cancer treatments, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, all different types of tamoxifen, things they have you taking to help you to get past and still live past breast cancer. Because I have about 3 clients that have had breast cancer and they're still thriving. They're still doing really well.
Did your mother find her mass on her own self breast exam?
I believe so.
Okay, so so she presents with a concern of a mass.
Correct.
Okay, not one that was found on mammography.
No, it wasn't, because they had to confirm what it was, and that's she had mammography done, and that's result that was lost.
And how old was she?
She was, I think she was 48.
48.
48 when she was diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
That was
And you're raising an important issue because, we think that, now I take for granted, and perhaps you do too, I walk in and get my mammogram.
Right.
We've known since even before the 80s, it's almost like the Henrietta Lack story, where, we take for granted that we get our annual women exam or pap smear, and that, it's around us, whether it's through Planned Parenthood or through your primary care doctor or through your OBGYN, that our grandmothers and mothers struggled for what we take is, just a slip of a request, right? And now they have it where they make sure that they send you a postcard to tell you, hey, it's time. And these things, as a single mom with a daughter that you're trying to get on to college and has all these activities and starting a business, you didn't get a postcard, you didn't get a follow-up call, but there was something there. So that is truly where she was. And she also sounds like she was in tune that something was going on with her body. So then you find this mass, you don't get a follow-up after you see it, after it's been diagnosed on the mammogram, because after a while, the radiologists, they're specialists, particularly our radiologists that specialize in breast cancer, breast care, reading those films can say this is a suspicious mass, okay? We have now progressed to stereotactic biopsies. That's minimally invasive biopsies. I've seen that done at MD Anderson. We also have the ability to go in and check a mass if they feel like this is the best course, is to go in, localize the mass. I've been involved with those cases as well. So yes, we have advanced in terms of notification. We've advanced in terms of diagnosis. And we've also now, this is a big discussion, we are now advancing to identifying the type of cancer and how to treat it. My experience with breast cancer, if I could share with you, it's on your Zima platform, as dear Renita, my grandmother had breast cancer late. It is found predominantly in older women over 50. So my grandmother's breast cancer was one of age related. But Renita was in her 30s. She was a cook at my college, just had a son, and she got breast cancer, third child. So, I thought, you're going to have your mastectomy or a lumpectomy, you'll be fine, we're going to win. And then we couldn't figure out what was the problem. And I flew into town, said, give me all your paperwork, because I'm not understanding something. Why are we not progressing? Why isn't this a happy ending? And sure enough, I saw the words triple negative breast disease. And I talked to her doctor and I said, I don't understand. He's like, there's no cure for her. And I said, so what are we doing? And he's like, we're staving off the disease for as long as possible, but she's not even tolerating the chemo. So every single side effect from the chemo she got, but it really wasn't keeping her cancer at bay. It was aggressive. She was younger than 40. It was aggressive. And she ultimately died of her disease, which is what the doctor said to me. She will die of her disease, doctor. I couldn't say that to her. I said, thank you, sir, and hung up the phone. Now I feel like now we're talking about the situation whereby the cancer isn't curable, but what I found was reprehensible on my community's part was assisting her with her transitions, even to hospice care, leaving the family with this feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, not calling her back when she was really in pain and addressing that, not really having good emotional support, nutrition support. And I used to do home health visits, and this is where I've entered people's homes, and Black people are very resilient. We really make sick beds and sick rooms for our loved ones. It is the most precious thing to walk into a house and all of a sudden it's all about this, basically we can do it for our families. Like, we don't want to go to the hospital. I want you to take care of me. Her mother was sitting right there. Her sister was making her favorite chicken wings, and I was sitting there cracking jokes. And then another girlfriend comes in, so we made her illness in the family. So I think, now, did you do that with your mom?
We did not, I wasn't there. Just she and I, she had sisters that lived in the state of Maryland, but she ended up going back to the hospital. We had a good neighbor that was like an aunt to me, my Aunt Jean Wicks. Actually the first Black family on the block. So she would take meals up and down the street to my mom and help her out as needed. When it got to be, past the point of her being able to help, she went back to the hospital. And so Aunt Jean would always call me and tell me, you need to come home. She's back there, keep me abreast of what's going on with my mom because she's the one house down. Funny that you mentioned about the family making the sickness like a family event. My father's mother ended up contracting stomach cancer. She's down in Birmingham, Bessemer, Alabama. Yeah. And I went to her during that time, and they got a hospital bed and put it right in the living room.
That's right. That's where it is. That's where it is when you do home. And and almost, and you think about there's like, they just like, I'm stressed out enough that I don't want that. And we are really good about coming together and saying, that's fine. I will bathe. And it's a lot. If you're lifting someone who's not able to lift themselves, their weight, it's a lot of work. The all night vigil, somebody stays up all night. That sick person does not do anything that stresses them out. And so it is, I have had multiple opportunities to sit with someone transitioning, and it is truly a spiritual event. Not to say that's what we want, but right. I must say that if you've ever experienced that, you see how family oriented that we can take our loved ones and care for them.
Right.
You are passionate about Pink. Now I know why. You are involved in a number of activities. Tell me about the activities that you're doing to recognize breast cancer awareness. And you do this every year. Some people, oh yeah, it's cute, I'm giving me a pink outfit. You do this every year, and now I understand why you're so committed.
Yes, so I'm gonna hold this up. Power of Pink. Yeah, I can't see that.
The Power of Pink. Yes. All right.
Power Pink is my organization. You can go to www.power-of-pink.org. And it's my group, my company, my organization, so to speak. And we're doing, every year we do a Power Pink event. We started off doing them in Equinox. Prior to the past year, we did a virtual one, and we did it in conjunction with my company I work with now, Nesca Performance. This year, we're doing it a little bit of hybrid event, as they call it now, when you're half on Zoom and half in person. The event will be Thursday, October 7th. Would be rain date will be Friday, October 8th, or Monday, October 11th. Events will include 8:30 a.m. virtual yoga sculpt, 11 a.m. yoga and meditation, which will be outside. And this will be at our president's home in Bethesda, Maryland. She's a nice open outdoor space. Okay. 11 a.m. outside also. I'll be doing Pilates at 11 a.m. So we'll have events going overlapping. So you can have space of events. And then we'll do 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. pumpkin decorating session. Pumpkin, so I can't even pronounce pumpkin now. Pumpkin decorating session from 11 to 12. And then 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. we'll also do yoga sculpt again. And then 12 to 2, we have our luncheon. And luncheon, we invite the clinics that we give money to. So the money that you will be donating for this event goes to Arlington Free Clinic. Breast Care for Washington, D.C. Mary's Center.
The Mary Center.
And then Mercy Health Clinic.
Mercy Health Clinic.
And all those go to help fund not just breast exams, but also childcare if needed, transportation needed to and from. So we're looking to really reach the people we've talked about that don't have access to good health care. These clinics reach out to them and they put them in if they need to, and we help fund that. So I love the fact that Karen Leader, who is our president, was her last year heading off Power Pink. We're going to hand it over to one of the organizations, but her sister's a 2-time survivor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is she of color?
Pardon?
She a minority female?
She is Caucasian.
Wow. Okay. But she's passionate about breast cancer, and let me just say that it takes everybody. It takes
Right.
everybody to be passionate about this cause for every woman.
Right.
And there's a small subset of men who do get breast cancer. Let's not discredit that it can affect men. But for most part, it is a female disease. And for every woman that of any race, that we have to feel compassion for their struggle. My question to you is some things that you said that women need childcare. Some people are uncomfortable being bald. So wigs, I think there's even a way for that to be subsidized. I know we had a darling woman at my hospital, young, less than 40, who had a little girl, and they did a special shout out to her in the hospital paper, a newsletter. And I get it. She's in the cafeteria. She didn't want to be bald every day, but she came. She said everybody was very wonderful to her, and she got a lot of donations from organizations that are similar to what yours is doing as the Power of Pink. And people need to understand that we do need support groups like yours to continue to advocate for women, but also meet that financial need and also the emotional support for women during this time. What else? I saw a pink water bottle. You got your pink water bottle? You were all pink today. We all pink today. I also saw, I don't know if you noticed, there's I wrote this down, the National Breast Cancer Early Detection Program is with the CDC. They also are about helping women who are in disadvantaged economic situations, make sure they have subsidies for getting the mammogram. Are there mobile clinics that you know about? I've seen one towards Wheaton, but I haven't seen another one, and I'm not sure in the PG County area.
I want to say at least 2, if not all of the organizations we support have mobile clinics. I think all of them reach out to those disenfranchised, underrepresented people that we discussed that don't have direct access or don't have full healthcare benefits or have, access to getting these screenings done and getting them done. They bring it to them. So I'm pretty confident in saying that if not 2, at least not all, at least 2 of them have that.
And so this is what people have to understand, that, if you're not only a single parent, but you don't have a vehicle, you can have all kinds of mammography appointments. You got to get there. And we are noting that some areas where we call them health deserts. I think it's out past Suitland. There are areas, Charles County has been identified as an area where we lack some of the healthcare infrastructure that you and myself take for granted because we're near Holy Cross, Suburban, GW. All of that is in one area and accessible. It's interesting too, when I think about someone in Anacostia, how do they get healthcare? I've gone in that area and I've been trying to figure out the demographics for getting healthcare. So these mobile units are very important to delivering primary care and cancer screening services for different communities around the DMV area. And I think that, we forget that. So I want to say that's awesome that the Power of Pink reaches out and support and raises money for these hospitals that are doing vital work. What else? Let me see. What else do we have on our agenda for October? Are you doing any runs or anything like that for breast cancer awareness? And do you ever do any public speaking?
No public speaking as of yet. I'm open to it. I can, the practice.
So Tomica, first of all, tell me your mother's name, full name again.
Full name is Barbara Lee Carter.
Now, was she from the DC area?
Yes, she was, went to Spingarn High School. She was a majorette.
So that's where you get it from.
Exactly.
And so you said that she passed in your freshman year at Howard.
So that's the whole story. So I actually started off at Towson State University. So it wasn't as close. So I was like an hour away. That was me being away in Baltimore. So I started off there and ended up coming back home to Howard after being there for 2 years. I think her death, you can only imagine the things I went through physically, mentally, emotionally. Being away from the little bit of family I did have here, I was like, I need to come home. I need to be back to where I grew up and back to where my mom raised me. So that's when I came back home, went to Howard. And I think it was a very good move. I know it was a very good move for me. I think going to a historical Black college and that whole family feel, and because at Cal State, we had the Black Student Union.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got.
Every Black person on that campus knew every Black person, like 20 of us, maybe 20. Where you go to Howard and I look around and all I see is me. And I grew up being that minority. Black family on the block, being in classes, going to Catholic school. It was one of the person in there, they were Black.
Yeah, we call that the process of othering. I'm the other person. And so you were saying that at 16, your mother was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes.
And she found this mass. And that you all went through this odyssey of her being diagnosed with cancer late.
Correct. They lost the test results, and then the activity to find them, or the search to find them, got dropped. The doctor didn't do her due diligence to make sure it happened. I mean, if nothing else, have her do it again. It's like, okay, you lost the first ones, you didn't get a response back from them. It's been 30 days. How about we talk to them and have her go for another one? I mean,
your mother knew a mass was there.
Yes, she knew a mass was there. She needed to find out whether it was malignant or benign.
And then she goes in for treatment, goes in for a test, a diagnostic test. It is lost. And she's lost. Did she get lost to follow up? And it's only because she persisted in saying, I need care, that she even got care? Because some women just don't go back. It's
right. I'm pretty sure she was persistent in regards to finding out, because eventually they did confirm that she had breast cancer. And that happened. They decided to do a total mastectomy. And so that whole mastectomy issue, or process, was an issue in regards to, it's amazing how much that affects the rest of your body. She had trouble picking up things. She couldn't hold on to cups, or I forgot what side of the body it was on her. But holding things was not an option. Holding a cup, picking up a plate. She dropped a plate one time and got mad. It's just like your whole life has changed, not to mention your quality of life has changed. You're a whole new person, especially back then. It's not the same. It's not the same.
And what you're describing is the risk of that surgery, which has been minimized as we got better, and not only a specialty in called breast cancer. People do fellowships now in breast surgery. Okay. And so at that time, it was, if your nerves were not identified and the type of radical mastectomy you had, and now you're talking to the other issue that we don't talk about often, is the quality of life of the patient, of women. Okay, so now I've had my surgery and I'm fine. Some women are, and I remember, and I'm seeing less of this, the sleeves that women used to have to wear for lymphedema. I'm seeing, I don't know, it's because I'm just not around it, or if the surgeons are better in terms of preserving lymph nodes and being very specific about which lymph nodes they're taking out. I was on a case like that last night, lymph node dissection. We also have techniques now to make sure that we're not taking too much of the nerve, and being very nerve sparing. So I can imagine in the 80s that the surgery and the risk of the outcome being poor were higher. So you said she experienced that after her surgery.
Right. Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I remember vividly. And that's part of the reason that I was like, I gotta help breast cancer survivors get back on their game, get back to what they used to do as far as their quality of life. That was my main mission as becoming a personal trainer, and then trying to specialize or specializing in helping those breast cancer survivors get back on their feet, get back to doing what they were doing before, being fully operational through their body and being happy with it and improving their quality of life. That was my main thing. When I saw that my mom couldn't even pick up a plate, it was heartbreaking. It didn't make any sense to me.
And you were in your teens at that time. And you said that she hid the lawsuit from you.
Yeah, she had started talking to the lawyer about, I guess by that point it was medical malpractice. And then when she passed away, it rolled into a wrongful death. And that's how I guess it rolled into that. But yeah, she knew I think she knew going into the surgery, or at least after the mastectomy, that this was a malpractice case and that she had to pursue and go further.
Can I ask you, why do you think because some people just say, they go through this process very bitter. I think that sometimes, even now with this process about COVID, this whole conversation about going back to Tuskegee experiment, my whole thing is you don't have to go back that far. You can go back to how a recent relative was treated or their outcome. And I really think that that's what stands out in Black folks' mind. How was I treated in the emergency room? How was the outcome, like for instance, with my grandmother? How was the treatment, for this person? I think that is stands out in our more recent memory. Because for some of us, we don't, that doesn't register. Tuskegee experiment, Henrietta Lacks story. What I know is how the hospitals in my community have treated my neighbor, my person at church. I think that is something that continues to spin around us. So your mom knew that she was having a poor outcome. And that she had rights that she should. Do you think that she knew someone that talked to her?
Probably so. We were part of a good-sized church, Mount Jezreel Baptist Church. So either through one of her church sisters or her best friend or Aunt Jean down the street, who was a professor at Bowie State College back then.
Okay.
I'm sure between different talks between family and friends that they were like, no, this shouldn't have happened.
And this is the power of sharing. You have part of the organization, the Power of Pink. It's the power of sharing. And so, we have to continue to talk about these conversations. Like I said, there's your mother's experience was didn't meet the standard of medical care case. And I can tell you that, once the lawyers start looking through it, I've tried to launch one as well before. And I got told, well, your grandmother was old. I also had a situation with my aunt. And they said, well, she had a good outcome. So therefore the case would not even go further. But I'm like, well, what about this? What about this with the surgeon? What about this with the surgeon? Can't do it. You can send a note to the medical board, but it's not a legal case. So your mother, trust, there is such a burden to win. And you're saying that your family won that case and that's how you were able to go to college. That was just such a clear-cut case for a young woman's life who was cut short through the breast cancer. So I think we have to talk about the power of sharing, but not from the issue of bitter disengagement. It's document what's happening, letting someone else know that you're going through cancer or any type of treatments, and then understanding when you do need some legal medical malpractice consultation, which it sounds like she had to have. And then you fight, and then your fight becomes different. Well, it didn't become different. She had to fight to continue to raise you as a single mom, continue to go through this fight with the medical community, and then foresee making sure you were provided for.
Right.
I think she's pretty awesome.
I agree.
And so, like you said, you were shocked to even be notified of this.
Oh yeah, about the when Milton Heller called me, I was like, "Who are you?" He's like, "Come to the office, we'll talk." And I was like, "Oh." And he had paperwork, and I saw her signature, and
How was that for you emotionally?
Oh, I was an emotional basket case.
Really?
I had to give a deposition. And I went to the lawyer's office to give a deposition about my interaction or my remembrance of what happened, how my mom got to where she got. Cried the entire time. I was alone. This time I was home at going to Howard University, but I remember very vividly sitting there and just crying, trying to talk. So, as Oprah said, the ugly cry. That was beyond the cry. That was a horrific cry. And just, it was crazy. And then going to court and it was.
It's a lot. How did you find the power to heal?
I'm still doing that. Every day.
I'm glad you said that and it's honest. I had like two friends that had parents that passed in college. It is a lifelong struggle. I think that what we are underestimating too is that these stories that they're putting out about parents who are leaving kids behind due to COVID. Let's not forget that there are also parents leaving children due to other reasons, other deaths. That the trauma from losing a parent as a child is a whole nother Uzima health and wellness segment that we'll have to do because it's truly a lifelong grief process that I don't know if I've never experienced, I can say you ever finish. You just don't finish that.
Not necessarily. I mean, with every session with your therapist and every day and every week and every month and every year, you can deal with a lot better. You get to be a lot stronger in the sense that you are more feeling, you're more empathetic to those around you. So not strong in the sense that, I can do this, which has been my way of fighting through life.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, I'm much more empathetic and understanding of those that are going through whatever type of sickness they're going through, whether it is changing their quality of life, that is making them have to work a little harder to do the basic things. It helps me. And looking back, I'm 51 now. She passed when I was 18. I think, when you are standing in it, you see the forest for the trees type thing, you don't really see how this could work for your good. You're like, because I was mad at God. Oh, we had it out. I was mad at God.
Well, let me tell you, and on that note, you was mad with God, and there was a play, Your Arms Too Short to Box with God. Baby, let me tell you, one day I was mad with God. And I said, your arms are too short to box with God, okay? So you're going to have to figure this out another way.
Right. He'll use you to help other things happen. How he use you, but you have to go through your growth to accept it.
Yes.
He used my mother's experience to make me who I am today. That's why I'm here with you.
Thank you. And let me just say, I saw the beautiful, beautiful pictures of you and your mother. And my interpretation was, this was a mother who was all about her daughter, that had found her mission and purpose in life. And I think that's just a true testimony to who she was. And I thank you for sharing those pictures. We will be posting them. And they were just beautiful. So I want to thank you for letting me into that part of your life. Because I know it's very personal, and I think that you're sharing, which is what I want the Uzima community to do, is continue to share these stories, not out of a spirit of we need to disengage, but we need to come together as a community, share these stories, and problem solve. So what do you want women to know about breast cancer?
That it's always a possibility, but so is hope. So is doing things to make your situation a different outcome than what you've experienced. I have a different lifestyle than my mom lived. She did what she did. I'm not judging by any means, but I'm more active. I don't smoke. I drink sparingly. So, and I'm very active. I work out at least twice a week now. COVID has dropped me back. I used to say I worked out more than that, but now.
Yes, you did. She's a beast, y'all. She's a beast.
But that, no matter what, I actually have a very good childhood friend who was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. She didn't have it in her family. She's posting about it on Instagram. Perhaps I can connect you to.
Yes, please do.
Lives in the area, and this is her recent struggle, and she's sharing. She's going through her session. She's getting her chemo. She's putting it on Instagram live. So it's I went through what I went through to hopefully be there for others who are going through today. I think that that's all we can do as far as once you're diagnosed, but help prevent that from even happening. Let's look at the way we live. Let's look at what we're eating. Let's look at how we're living. Let's look at our stress levels. Let's look at our sleep patterns. So the whole gamut, that's what we do in SPL Performance actually is like we have a performance coaching platform. We don't just look at, okay, let's get in the gym and burn some calories. No, we're looking at what do you do when you leave the gym? How are you handling your stress? How well are you sleeping? Are you getting enough vegetables, protein, and carbohydrates? Are you getting good balance? That whole, everything around you impacts who you are, your environment.
Correct.
What you do, how you think,
Mhm.
how you recover.
I think I think that is very important. I think that we're seeing that, and I could talk to you forever, of course. But even with COVID, when they say, oh, Black people are dying, you're unhealthy and this and what have you, there are social determinants of health. There's the precondition of the patient, which we, and it's not voodoo, are seeing when a person is overcome with COVID. But it's not just COVID, it's any disease. Your diabetes progresses faster when you smoke and drink, you don't exercise. Your hypertension, your risk of cancer goes up. And so we think, these are some things we can control. We can't control our race and we can't control where we're born. The things also that are in our control is that our responsiveness and our engagement with the medical community. As a physician, I think that what I see is that sometimes patients just don't know what to ask. Right. And so that's what I want you, Zima, to be able to help patients, particularly patients who feel othered by the medical community, that you can ask a question and no question is stupid. Right. And I just kind of, I can't re-educate every young medical student, but part of my goal too is work with medical students and to say, if you get a quiet moment from a patient and they say they don't have a question, make sure you give them space to ask the question. Right. And maybe you should go to them and say, these are some important things you might want to know. So it takes community engagement. So I thank you for your community engagement with me. And it also takes me as a healthcare professional trying to do what I can on my side to educate about my folk, okay, and how we respond to some things, and we hopefully can get better outcomes. Yes. So thank you. I'm going to go exercise. You've inspired me again, okay, and I appreciate the Power of Pink. Tell us your dates again, and let you go.
Power of Pink, Thursday, October 7th. You can go on power-of-pink.org and register today. We have plenty of spots for luncheons, but not for the activities. So spots are going quickly for the activities. If you want to join in, we'd love to have you. Love to see my Pilates class.
Yay. And then we also have the ability to donate to those awesome, so you can help raise money for those awesome community hospitals.
Exactly. So you can just make a donation. You can register, make a donation for however much you want to. Yes, all donations are tax deductible, of course, and very good.
All right. Thank you so much, Tomica. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Dr. K.
Hi, Uzima family. If you like what you're seeing and what you're hearing, subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon below to be notified of our recent videos. What the doctor say?